Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another conversation where we talk to some of our creatives between conventions. I'm your host and the communication specialist here at AfterShock Comics, Ruthann Thompson. Today we have special guest. He's a writer and creator of a brand new title that's coming out next week, The Vineyard, Brian Hawkins. Hello, Brian. How are you?
Hey, Ruthann, how are you doing?
I am so good. I'm so excited to have you on board. We have issue one coming out shortly, so this is a great way for everybody to learn all about the title beforehand, and also about you. So I'm so excited to be able
Cool.
to talk to you today.
Same here. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of
It's awesome. Happy
course.
hour. Happy hour. I like that.
Yes. So,
Great.
you've been a writer creator for a while now. So, we always love to ask our creatives on these interviews of what the first comic book or book that you picked up that you just said, "Ooh, I love this and I'm going to do this."
So, man, I would have to say it was for me, like writing comics, it was The Walking Dead. Like I remember this was in 2012, and I wasn't familiar with The Walking Dead. Uh Faux pas here until the show. And I'm like, so wait, this based off a comic book? And that really kind of helped me to rediscover um what was happening in the comic book industry, because a lot of it was spent in my youth, with Spider-Man, Batman, all of them. But I really didn't like understand indie comics until 2012. And so that brought me back in, create our own independent comics. I'm like, whoa, this is a whole new world here. So
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to have any superheroes or anything like that. It
exactly,
can be something more grounded like that. Absolutely.
exactly, yeah.
So, how did you go from enjoying The Walking Dead to then becoming a creator yourself?
So writing has always been like this aspiration, English major, love Shakespeare, wrote a few plays and screenplays out, got the rejection letters, and I was like, oh, wait a second, a comic. Oh, wait, could I write a comic? And I remember going out and I actually looked online about like what like how to write a comic book script. And Dennis O'Neil, I ordered his book and it came in. I went through it. So and it was very, for me it was the easy transition from like all the writing I had been doing with playwriting, and etc. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, this world, I love this. And I just jumped all in. And I've been all in ever since.
That's amazing. I love just like how to write comic books. Let's do it.
Thank God for Google. Oh, sorry. Thank Dionysus for
Mm.
Google.
Yes. Well, since you're pretty fresh to the scene, is there anything that you wish you knew when you came into this industry, or any advice that you have for anybody trying to follow your footsteps?
Absolutely. Pace yourself, allow for plenty of mistakes. Try, like, you will have, if you're a creator of any kind, you'll have so much you want to get out, and you want to get it out at once, but you can't do that. Like, is if you can kind of put your creativity into a box, into a sandbox to play in, um, I think that will work best, because creativity limited really emboldens what creativity is. And coming out the gate, I was just trying to do it all at once, and just I had this idea, that idea, and really is a process, it's a journey. So putting limitations on your creativity to allow your creativity to grow within certain confines is actually the best growth mechanism, I think.
That
And I
is
learned that hindsight.
wonderful advice. Yeah, that's awesome advice. Because yeah, you do think about people when you're just given a blank page, it's sometimes too overwhelming and you have nowhere to start. But as soon as you add restrictions to yourself, you see this across all creative
Absolutely.
backgrounds. So that's such great advice. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Trial and error.
Well, now I am so curious about the restrictions you kind of gave yourself when creating your newest title with us, The Vineyard, in shops on August 3rd. So please tell us a little bit about the story behind this and how you came to come to this story.
So the Vineyard, the box, right? Horror, I believe, is excellent for that restriction, because I believe the best horror fits in kind of like a box. You have this, localized place, and you have, a group of people, and something happens. So with the Vineyard, it's set in a small uh, Virginia town, Virginia wine country, and it is about this family, the Vines, who have made a deal with their patron god Dionysus, for for him to bless their wine, to bless their business, and for them to be prosperous. And so from there, they have been extremely successful. And the vineyard, which the winery is called, has flourished. The story starts off where the patriarch Didakai Vines, who normally does the required sacrifices for Dionysus, he is in a wheelchair now because he has had an accident within the last year. Normally, he's the one that carries it all out. Well, the story begins where he can't. So the matriarch, Maranatha, it's fallen to her, the mom, the wife. And so she struggles with carrying out her first kill. And so what the god of wine, Dionysus, requires is 4 sacrificial killings per year before harvest season. And so she is attempting to make the first kill. She's unable to do it. And so her son, who is more of a zealot of the belief that the father has kind of engendered towards and pushed on the family, kind of usurps her and takes control and does the killing for her. And so what ends up happening is it sets off this family dynamic, this family interaction of belief versus moral value, belief versus family obligation, belief versus other worldly demands. And we get to see between father, mother, son, who is the youngest of the 2 children, and the daughter, what has happened to bring them to this point. The daughter being someone who has kind of left the family because she thinks that this is insane. Like, what are you guys doing? You want to be blessed by this God? What? Okay, I'm out of here. And she has struggled with that. And so eventually, of course, she comes back into the equation, but it's about family. It's about wine. It's about belief. And it's about the extremism of belief and how that affects family and affects the people that are closest to you.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on in the story, like everything you just mentioned between like family and belief, but you also have some ritualistic,
Absolutely.
sacrificing
Yeah.
and bringing in some old gods who we haven't even thought about for a long time, like Dionysus. So for you, where did some of the inspiration come from for you? And then also, because usually whenever we see Dionysus, he's always like this, just like jolly, like kind of round belly, like drunk guy.
Right,
So
right.
for you, where did it come from to get the idea to make it turn it and turn into a much more darker, sinister situation?
So I love horror stories. And I wanted a horror story based around wine. And the next thought became, oh, the god of wine. Yes. And I have this thing with Greek mythology. Loved it when I was a kid, loved it growing up, loved it within the realms of playwriting and Shakespeare. And I thought about Dionysus, and I was just like, man, like there's not a whole lot of stories told about him. And when they are, like in Percy Jackson, like he's just kind of just a wine drinker, jolly, whatever. Like, and so I wanted to look at the demonic dread, the dark perversion or version of what this God looked like. And I have like this, so I have a theology background, and so I like to look at religion through the lens of like through a very human lens. And I felt like, well, like, what if this God of wine is not jolly, not happy, not just drunk and just enjoying his life, but it's, there's some dark constitutes that, that revolve around him that makes him who he is. And how would that affect people or characters interacting with him? And so I kind of cultivated this idea or crafted this idea of a dark version of Dionysus and what wine would be in this more so morose, dark world, and how that would affect the vines and what they want to do with their business, which is a winery.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see the depiction of all this like on paper because it hasn't come out yet, not until August 3rd. And so we have Sammy Chiavella working with you for the
Yes.
artwork. And so what has it
Yes.
been like working with Sammy?
Oh man, I don't think I have enough adjectives for Sammy. Sammy is simply, I want to say amazing. Amazing isn't good enough. Magical isn't good enough. Like the best way to describe this is like when I first got the layouts for issue one back, I actually went through the layouts with no script in front of me, and I looked at the first page and I was like, what? Oh my God. And I just began to walk through the panels in the paging without the script. And his art, his layouts just spoke. They just unfolded. They literally told the story with no words whatsoever. And I was just man, I need a better adjective. And I'm an English major and I can't come up with it. So it was amazing. Amazing working with Sammy. Sammy is an excellent storyteller. And he has completely brought this story to life and taken the life of it to a whole nother level. So it was amazing.
Yeah, we've worked with him several times. Absolutely love working with him. Do you so far have any favorite scenes or characters or panels that he's designed for you?
Yeah, I love his Maranatha Dedikai. And I don't think I mentioned this. The father, the husband name is Dedikai Vines. Um, his interaction with his wife Maranatha are my favorite scenes. And in issue one, at least, that they have a few scenes, a few pages, a few panels where they interact about and they have a discourse about their marriage, about the family, about the religion, where she stands, where he stands, and like the way Sammy depicted like facial expressions, like their mannerisms, like it complements the dialogue so well. And it just feels like we're attempting to hit on that human condition, which is best seen through that human relationship, especially between man and woman or some kind of spouse. So like when you're in an intimate relationship, you are vulnerable. And Sammy, his art, those scenes show, especially Maranatha's vulnerability, but also Dedekai's and what this religion for him means, juxtaposed against who she is and what she is to him. It's just, I'm floored by it, to be honest with you.
That's so great. I cannot wait to see all these panels. That's very exciting.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
well, I know that issue one comes out on August 3rd, and then the next issue is going to be, you got to order it before. Let's see, August 15th. So, for all those who are looking to add this to their pull list, is there anything else that you can tell us that they can look forward to in this wonderfully scary and vicious title?
Yeah, so it's a great build up. It's not slow building. You're thrown into what it is immediately. You're immersed into the scene, the visuals of the vineyard. The vineyard itself, the setting, the location is very much a character. And you're interacting as a reader. You will be interacting with the vineyard as much as you are interacting with the characters, and you're on this journey with the characters as they deal with the vineyard and Dionysus and the nymphs that are his attendants, which are a part of the demonic dread and if you want to say demonic or angelic presence of him. There's so much in there, and you're on this journey that is really about self-discovery. It looks at, it exegetes, who we are as people and how we choose to believe and the choices that we make that then affect our actions. So hopefully as a reader, you'll find yourself relating to one of the characters. And I think horror in general does a great job of really honing in on the human condition and allowing us to see ourselves in that mirror, the raw primordial self, so that we can hopefully be better. And that's what I hope the Vineyard does.
Well, I cannot wait to read it. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks
Where
for
can
having me.
everybody find you on social media?
Oh, I'm on Twitter a lot. The Twitterverse is happening. I am at Brian O. Hawkins. IG is right behind that with Brian Hawkins Writes. My website is www.brianhawkinswrites. There's kind of like a theme happening there, right?
Hey, I'm noticing. Yeah.
And I'm on Facebook too. Brian Hawkins Writes. Go figure. So if
Yeah.
you want to find me, I'm writing. Brian Hawkins Writes.
Well, fantastic. Thank you again so much for being part of the show. And I look forward to picking up the first issue of The Vineyard on August 3rd.
Thank you so much. It's been a blast. Cheers.
Did you just pull up an empty hand?
I did.